بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين الحبيب المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته الكرام المنتجبين. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, may all the praise be to God, and may all the peace and the blessings be upon all the prophets, and upon the Prophet Muhammad, and upon his purified progeny, and the believers of his companions. And may the peace and the blessings be upon all of you, dear brothers and sisters and a friend. Thank you for joining us tonight. I pray and hope that you are all safe and healthy. We continue with studying chapter 25, al-Furqan. Today we will study verse number 6. Most probably all our time will be spent on studying this verse. If we got some more time, we may study other verses. So I will read the Arabic, verse number 6, and Hajj Reza will read the English. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قل أنزله الذي يعلم السر في السماوات والأرض إنه كان غفورا رحيما.
Say, O Muhammad, he who knows the secret of the heavens and the earth has sent it down. Surely he is oft forgiving, most merciful.
Previous verses have mentioned that the pagans of Mecca claimed that the Quran was fabricated by the Prophet himself with the help of a group of other people. It is the product of a joint venture or a joint project between Prophet Muhammad and a group of others. They didn't mention who are those others. And then they said it only contains the tales of the ancient people, asatirul awwalin, the legends and the tales of ancient people. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God is responding to this claim and accusation by this verse. Tell them, you Muhammad, tell them that the one who knows the secret in the heavens and earth is the one who sent it down. Surely he is the oft forgiving, most merciful. This is a very short verse, but it has a very deep meaning that I would like to spend this half an hour to talk about this very short verse. It's a very interesting verse in its area and in its discipline, just like all the verses of the Quran. First, it talks about who produced the Quran. Second, it talks about the attribute of God. And third, it talks about the secret of the heaven and earth. So three important issues that I would like to talk about them as we have time. So the first point is that what you are claiming, you the pagans, that this Quran is the product of Muhammad's mind, is absolutely wrong, and not only wrong, but it is unjust. This is, in fact, it was sent by God, the creator of the heaven and earth, by the God, the knowing, the all-knowing of whatever has happened in the past and what is happening now and what will happen in the future. So he knows what happened to previous prophets and nations. Who's better than God to know about everything that happened in the past there is no need for somebody to teach the prophet about these stories, since God, who created all those nations and sent all those prophets, he knows better than others. He has produced this. He has sent down this Quran. So this is point number one. Point number two, it says about one specific attribute of God. Remember, through these verses that we spent many weeks and during the month of Ramadan talking about many attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, attributes of God. By now we know a lot of these attributes. And one attribute is that God, He is all-knowing. He knows everything in this universe, whether in the venue of time, whatever has happened in the past, now, and in the future, or in the venue of space, not only on Earth, in every spot on Earth, but in this whole universe, in every place in this earth. So in terms of time and space, God knows everything. So this is a very broad meaning that God, about the knowledge of God. But this verse is not talking about the absolute knowledge of God. It talks about just one thing. The verse says, the secret of the heavens and earth. Before I offer my own humble opinion, I would like to share with you what commentators have mentioned about this. What does it mean? The secret of the secret in the heaven and the earth. Al-sir. قل أنزله الذي يعلم السر في السماوات والأرض. The one who knows the secret in the heaven and earth has sent it down. So commentators said this universe has billions or maybe trillions and trillions and trillions of secrets and mysteries that he only knows. And some of them he would share with his creation on earth, with the humans, or would enable them to discover these mysteries. So this is what they refer. They are talking about all the mysteries in this universe, whether they will be unknown forever, or they were unknown at certain times, but then became known to people. Some commentators have offered specific examples, and especially about the future. They said the future is unknown for people who live the current time. And in the past, people did not know what is going to happen for their own future. We know now because for us now is the past, but we do not know our future. They give an example, many examples, in fact, in the Quran. I share with you one example. This example is mentioned in chapter 30, named Surah al-Rum, the chapter of the Romans. There is a very interesting information or a fact offered in the beginning of this chapter. It says, غُلِبَتُ الرُّومُ في أدنى الأرض وهم من بعد غلبهم سيغلبون في بضع سنين. The translation is, the Romans, referring to the Roman empires, have sustained a serious defeat. But after their defeat, they will gain victory in a few years. The details about the very interesting details about this chapter, it was sent down in Mecca. So we are talking about a period of 610 to 610 to 622, within these 12 years. This verse, in the order that it was sent down, apparently it was sent down within the last maybe 4 years of the Prophet Muhammad ministry, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ministry in Mecca, possibly the last 4 years. So we are talking about 618, 617, 619, something around that. During this time, Romans has sustained a very serious defeat when their emperor Heraclius waged a war against the Persians in 613. 613. He actually became an emperor he was an emperor between 610 to 641. In 613, he started a war against the Persians, and he sustained a very serious defeat. And this was the beginning of many defeats to come for about 8 to 10 years. This has happened while Muslims were in Mecca. This chapter came saying that the Romans were defeated by the Persians. However, the verse says, in a few years, they will gain victory. And this is exactly what happened. When Muslims migrated with the Prophet, migrated to Medina, Heraclius mobilized his power and manpower and forces and resources and waged another war in 625. In that war, they gained victory, and they continued to win the wars until 629. So this is an example of a fact that was going to happen in the future at time. The Quran has revealed it to the world. Many commentators say this is an example of the mysteries and secrets that were unknown. God told the Prophet to tell the world through the Quran. And the Quran has hundreds of similar stories. I just chose one for, as an example to save time. Now, I would like to offer my very humble opinion. I might be wrong. This is just my own opinion. Let us go back to the phrase that the Quran says. It was sent down by the one who knows the secret in the heavens and earth, the earth. First of all, it talks about one secret. It's a singular, not a plural. There is only one secret. It can't be, referring to all the mysteries and secrets in the universe. This is my humble opinion. I could be wrong. And then the word in Arabic is using the article the. It is the secret. The Arabic says as-sir. In Arabic, it's called mu'arraf. Alif lam at-ta'rif. It's like saying a book or the book. So there is an article though. So it is a specific. If you are talking about it's a specific book. And when you say as-sir, it's a specific secret. It's not any secret. It's a specific secret. It can't refer to all the mysteries of the world. And number three, the number three, it's in the preposition in. That's another interesting point. It says the secret in the heavens and the earth. This is a very significant point, brothers and sisters. Please, I'd like you to pay attention here. Let me give you an example. What if the Quran was saying God knows the secret of the heaven and earth? But here he is saying the secret in the heavens and earth. And I would like to explain my point in the form of an example. Somebody says, what is the secret in the fast and rapid spread of COVID-19? What is the secret in the fast and rapid spread of COVID-19 versus what is the secret of COVID-19? There are totally two different meanings. The first one is raising a question about a specific incident, very specific. The rapid and fast spread of this disease. The second is a very wide question. It might deal with who created this virus, how this virus is functioning, how this virus is killing some and saving some, and hundreds of other questions. But the first one is very specific. It's in fact raising a question about a specific incident. Let's go back to the verse. The verse, it says, God who knows the secret in the heaven and earth. Now, God did not mention this incident. So it is still a secret. We do not know what is this incident in this heaven and earth. But the verse is giving us many other informations, very important. The first information, it says that there is one secret. You may call it a fact, a formula, Allah, whatever. This one thing, you may name it in whatever you want, because we really do not know what is this. The whole universe apparently is operating based on this only one formula. Everything in this universe, including the earth. How many trillions and trillions and trillions of operations and actions is taking place every single moment. All of those are based on a single fact or a formula that it is called a secret. So this is apparently what I understood, the operation, everything that is happening in this world, such as life, death, evolution, the expansion of the universe, the birth of a star, the death of a star, and millions of others operations. All of those are functioning based on one single fact or truth. This is one aspect of this verse. The second aspect is that this fact will remain secret forever. Nobody will know about it, because in a time, in the future, if humans will get to know about it, it's not a secret anymore. The story of the defeat and the winning of the Roman Empire, for us, it's not a secret anymore. For those who were in Mecca, It was unknown fact. We call it unknown fact. They didn't know about what is going to happen in the future. But later they got to know. So you cannot call this a secret. Secret in the language of the Quran, that will stay a secret forever. Forever. Humans will never discover that. For many reasons. I do not know what are the reasons. Because this is a secret. You know, we can assume hundreds of things. Why we will not discover? Maybe because it is beyond our brain to understand and grasp the meaning of it. Our brain functions in a very limited way and understands and analyzes things in terms of space and time. And maybe this is beyond that. Maybe humans lack the means and the tools to discover this fact. So there could be hundreds and millions of other reasons why we cannot understand. So it will stay a secret. Who knows that? Only God. Only God knows that secret. So this is very amazing, brothers and sisters. This verse saying, this Quran that you have, it is in your hand. The Quran that you can open and read every single day. This is not a myth. This is not a legend. This is not the tale of it's not only about the stories of previous prophets and nations. This has been sent by the creator of this universe, the one who knows the secret behind this, the operation of this universe. He created this universe based on a single fact. You will not know this fact. He knows this fact. He produced this Quran for you out of his mercy, out of his kindness. So he guides you to the right path. So he give you healing. So he would make your life a healthy and happy life in terms of spirituality. Now, this verse of the Quran reminded me of what a very famous scientist has mentioned, Stephen Hawking. This is his book. It's called A Brief History of Time. Very interesting book. He wrote this book in 1982. But this edition, the one I bought, is 1998. He writes in page number 12. Very interesting. I'd like to read what he wrote here, very briefly. He says, today scientists describe the universe in terms of two basic partial theories. One of them, the general theory of relativity, this is one, and number two, quantum mechanics. And he describes these two theories. He says, the general theory of relativity describes the forces of gravity and the large-scale structure of the universe. That is, the structure on the scale from only few miles to as large as million, he open parenthesis, one with 24 zeros after it, close the parenthesis, miles. So this theory, it is related to the whole universe, which he says the size of the observable universe. The universe has two areas. One is observable for humans, and one that is beyond the observation of humans, so vast that humans cannot observe what is going behind that. So this is the general theory of relativity. What about the quantum mechanics? On the other hand, quantum mechanics deals with phenomena on extremely small scales, such as millionth of an inch. So this is the second theory. Then he says, however, these two theories are known to be inconsistent with each other. They cannot both be correct. Very interesting. And then he says, one of the major endeavors in physics today, and the major theme of this book, is the search for a new theory. What is this new theory? Very interesting. That will incorporate them both. A complete unified theory that will describe everything in the universe. One unified theory that describes everything happening in this universe. Very interesting, very interesting. Yet, if there really is a complete unified theory, this is his opinion, it would also presumably determine our actions. If the humans get to discover this theory, assumingly it will determine their own actions as well. And then later, in a few paragraphs later, he adds, if ever humans discover this, our scientific discoveries may well destroy us all. So this is the quote from this book. This theory could be, he's a well-known in his area. Could be right, could be wrong. I'm not the person to judge on this. And what I offered from, this verse, it is my own reading. Could be right, could be wrong. But it seems that there is some kind of a fact or a formula that the whole universe, though it looks very different, a birth of a star with the birth of a child, for example, two totally different things. The Quran says there is one secret. What is that secret? We don't know. I might call it a fact or a theory. Somebody might call it something else. Is running the whole universe. And this is also what Stephen Hawking says, that there is one theory that would describes everything in this universe. Now, the verse ends with, it says, إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Surely God is oft forgiving, most merciful. Indeed, this God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with all power and might, with all the sophistication and the creation of this universe, with the beautiful and sophisticated design, that everything in this universe is working in harmony based in single fact that is a secret. We do not know what. This God is so powerful beyond imagination. But this God is not a God that would oppress anyone. With all his power, he does not oppress. He is not unjust. He is not merciless. He deals with his creation with love, care, with forgiveness. Though they may deny him, there is an opportunity to forgive them. And with mercy. At this peak of COVID-19, you look everywhere, you can see the mercy of God. the mercy of God in that there are people who are willingly and voluntarily fighting this pandemic. They are in the front line of fighting this pandemic. There is food for almost all people. There is safe water. There is social communication and connection. Though we are at home, but we can work from home, we can communicate with home, and many other aspects of Allah's mercy. So even at hard times, at turmoils, at turbulences, we can see the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I would like to conclude with this amazing verse of the Quran, like all the verses of the Quran. When people study it, Muslims and scholars study it 100 years ago, 200 years ago, they understood certain aspect. Today, we are their children. Today, we understand something different. Maybe better, maybe not, I don't know. But with the discoveries of science, we get to know a different aspect of the Quran. And our children, our grandchildren will understand the Quran in a different way. Isn't this the miracle, the amazing miracle of the Quran, that it is a live message. It's a powerful message for every generation. Every generation would get to understand and grasp something from the Quran. There is a message for everyone. The Quran does not expire. When you read the Quran, you can seek healing, and you can be amazed by the facts and science and spirituality that is presented in the Quran. By this, I come to conclude our session of Quran study for tonight. If there is a question or a comment, please raise it now before we would conclude with reciting the Fatiha for the healing of all those who are ill and sick. All right. I would like to recite Surah al-Fatiha for the healing of all those who are ill and sick, for the pleasure of the soul of those who departed, and for the comfort of those who are in hardship during these times, wherever they are in this world, and for the end of this pandemic. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد